All right, so ready to dive into some, pretty wild stuff.
Always up for a good deep dive, especially when it involves, well, let's just say things that make you go, huh, what was that?
Exactly. And today's topic is definitely one for the books. We're talking about the USS Nimitz Tic Tac encounter, and honestly, even saying it out loud, it sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
Right. You almost expect like a dramatic soundtrack to kick in, but this is the real deal. 2004, off the coast of San Diego, a group of Navy pilots encounter something, well, let's just say it's not your everyday aircraft.
Not every day you have seasoned pilots questioning what they're seeing, right? So what makes this encounter so, I don't know, credible? Is it just the eyewitness accounts, or is there more to it?
Way more. I mean, yeah, you've got these pilots, right? Top-notch, trained observers. But this isn't some fuzzy photo from someone's flip phone. We're talking about radar data, military-grade stuff from the USS Princeton.
Okay, so this wasn't just a blip on a screen then. We're talking sophisticated technology, picking something up. What exactly were they seeing?
So for weeks leading up to this whole Tic Tac thing, the Princeton's radar had been catching these objects. They were appearing and disappearing, moving in ways that just, well, it just wasn't normal.
Normal how? Like, give me a frame of reference.
Imagine something just popping up on radar at 80,000 feet. That's practically the edge of the atmosphere. And then, boom, seconds later, it's down at like 50 feet above the ocean.
Okay, yeah, no, that's not how planes usually behave. Defying gravity isn't in their job description, so the Navy's got to be freaking out, right? What they do, scramble some jets.
Exactly. They send out two FA-18s Super Hornets. Now, we're not talking about rookies here. These are some of the best of the best, including a guy named Commander David Fravor, call sign Sex.
Hold on, sex? Seriously? Okay, gotta admit, that's a pretty memorable call sign for a pilot who's about to encounter something out of this world.
Right, you can't make this stuff up. But anyway, Fravor and his weapons system officer, call sign Clean. By the way, they were in one jet, and then another experienced pilot, Alex Dietrich, and her weapons officer were in the other.
2 jets, 4 sets of highly trained eyes. All right, lay it on me. What did they see?
As they were approaching the area, they noticed this, like, disturbance in the water. It was like something big had just gone under. And then they see this white oval-shaped thing about 45 feet long just hovering there above the water. That's our Tic Tac.
Hold up. 45 feet.
Yeah.
That's like bigger than a school bus just chilling out above the ocean. Yeah, I'd be a little curious too.
Totally. So Fravor, being the, well, let's just say he's not afraid of a little action, decides to get a closer look. As he starts to fly towards it, the Tic Tac starts mirroring his movements, like it's playing a game with him or something.
A game of cat and mouse, except this cat has some seriously evasive maneuvers, it sounds like. Did Fravor ever get close?
Not even. It was like no matter what he did, he couldn't close the distance.
Yeah.
And then, poof, gone, vanished into thin air.
Seriously, just disappeared. What did the radar show?
And this is where it gets really wild. At the same time that it vanished for the pilots, the Princeton picks it up again on radar 60 miles away.
Wait, what? 60 miles, just like that. It's, like you said, teleportation. That's insane.
Yeah.
So we've got these experienced pilots, we've got radar data, and an object that's basically ignoring the laws of physics. Is there any, visual evidence of this thing?
You're in luck. There is. Another pilot, Chad Underwood, managed to capture the Tic Tac on his FLIR camera.
Now, for those of us who don't speak military tech, FLIR stands for?
Forward-looking infrared. Basically, it's a heat-sensing camera. And the footage, it's not your typical grainy, blurry UFO thing. This is military-grade, clear, detailed. And guess what? It shows the Tic Tac pulling the same crazy moves the other pilots described.
So we've got visual confirmation on top of everything else. This Tic Tac wasn't just messing with our pilots. It was putting on a show for our technology, too.
Right. And that's what's so wild about this whole thing. You've got multiple witnesses, trained observers, we've got radar data, and now we even have it on film. And still, nobody can definitively say, okay, this is what it was.
You think the higher-ups, like at the Pentagon, were freaking out? You'd think this would have been all hands on deck, right?
You'd think, wouldn't you? But get this, the aftermath of this thing was almost as strange as the encounter itself.
Hold on, so you're telling me they have this insane event, pilots are seeing things they can't explain, our tech is going haywire, and what, they just ignore it?
Well, not completely. I mean, there were definitely some whispers, some memos going around, but a full-blown public investigation. Nah, not really.
Seriously? Why not? That's crazy.
It's kind of a bummer, but it really shows you how deep this whole UAP secrecy thing goes, especially in the military.
So people were, like, afraid to talk about it, even these experienced pilots.
Exactly. There's this whole culture of silence that's been around these topics for, well, forever, it seems. Think about it. You're a pilot, you see something unbelievable, and you're supposed to just, what, keep quiet? Risking your career, maybe even being ridiculed.
Yeah, that's a tough spot to be in for sure. But something like the Nimitz, I mean, come on. That's a lot of evidence to just brush under the rug.
You would hope so, right? But hey, the good news is things are starting to change a bit. You know, the Pentagon releasing those UAP videos a while back, and then there's the whole ARO thing.
Right, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. So finally, they're admitting there might be something out there we don't understand.
Exactly. It's about time, right? And the Nimitz case, well, it's definitely not an isolated thing. When they started actually looking into old UAP reports, you know, like Lue Elizondo did with AATIP.
AATIP, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program.
Yeah, that's the one. So they found all these reports, going back decades, describing similar encounters.
So we're talking multiple Tic Tacs, or just other weird objects doing equally weird things.
Good question. Lots of these reports described objects with similar capabilities. I mean, the speed, the maneuverability, no visible engines or anything.
It's like the Tic Tac had its own calling card, leaving it at every bizarre encounter. Okay, but what does it all mean? Are we talking top secret government stuff? Some kind of crazy drone program?
Yeah.
Or are we going full alien here?
I mean, the most logical explanation, at least at first glance, is that it's some kind of advanced technology. You know, maybe from another country. But the things that Tic Tac was doing and some of these other objects in these reports, it seems beyond anything we know how to do.
So not us, then who? And, you know, the bigger question, what do they want?
$1 million question, right. And it's one that's got a lot of people scratching their heads. Scientists, researchers, even the government folks.
Okay, hold on. Before we get too far down that rabbit hole, let's rewind for a second. We talked about the Tic Tac speed, like teleportation speed. Is that even possible?
Yeah, it definitely makes you wonder. I mean, based on what we know about physics, instantaneous travel like that over such huge distances, it's not really possible. But then again, there are some theories.
Hit me with your best shot. What kind of theory could even begin to explain something like that?
Okay, so there's this concept called quantum entanglement. Einstein actually called it spooky action at a distance.
Spooky action, huh? Okay, I'm intrigued.
So basically, it's this idea that two particles, even when they're super far apart, they're still linked somehow. And whatever happens to one, it instantly affects the other one, no matter how much distance is between them.
So you're saying there's a chance, even a small one, that these Tic Tacs, these things that are breaking all the rules, are somehow tapping into some kind of physics that we haven't even begun to understand.
It's a possibility, isn't it? Look, I'm not saying that's definitely what's happening, but it does make you think, right? Like, what if we've only scratched the surface of what the universe can do?
Quantum entanglement, spooky action at a distance. You know, for a minute there, I thought we were going to have to bust out the physics textbooks. This is some seriously mind-bending stuff.
I know, right? It really makes you realize just how much we don't know about, well, about anything, really. We're out here building rockets and stuff, but then you've got these Tic Tacs just zipping around like, nah, we don't play by those rules.
Totally. It's humbling, you know, to think that with all our fancy technology and scientific breakthroughs, we might just be scratching the surface.
Exactly. And that's what I find so exciting about all this. The universe is full of mysteries, and the more we learn, the more we realize we don't know.
So where do we go from here? I mean, what's the takeaway from all of this? The Tic Tacs, the radar data, the quantum physics. It's a lot to process.
Well, for me, it just highlights how important it is to keep asking questions, you know? We can't be afraid to explore the unknown, even if it seems, well, a little out there.
Like, hey, remember that time we saw something that defied all known laws of physics? Yeah, let's look into that some more.
Exactly. And not just look into it, but be open-minded about it. The answers might not be what we expect, but that's part of the thrill of discovery, right?
For sure. And maybe, just maybe, we'll find out that we're not as alone in the universe as we thought we were.
Now, wouldn't that be something?
That's a whole other deep dive for another day. Thanks for joining us today. This Tic Tac mystery, well, it's one for the books.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure, as always.
This is The Deep Dive, signing off for now. Until next time, keep looking up.
issues that Congress and others have been concerned about are basically safety of flight concerns and counterintelligence issues. But of course, there's always the question of, is there something else that we simply do not understand that might come extraterrestrially?
And so, Carl, here's the million-dollar question. Do you believe that a higher form of non-human intelligence has visited this planet?
Right. So, non-human intelligence exists. Non-human intelligence has been interacting with humanity. This interaction is not new, and it's been ongoing. And there are unelected people in the government that are aware of that.